Hello and welcome back to Catweazle's playthrough of Arkham Horror, the Cool Air scenario. This is turn 1, so we're going to crack on and hopefully we'll be a bit quicker than we have been in the setup, which went on a bit longer than I expected. Just a couple of quick things to show you. First of all is just a little table here. It's just all the investigators, and as I go through the scenarios, there's 10 of them. I'm just going to cross off who we've actually used, and as far as possible I'll try and use as many of the investigators as we can. Where there's a Y, that's where thematically they're required for the scenario. And the darker boxes, that's where the individual investigator is not required. But I'll keep an eye on that and try and do as many investigators as possible as we do all the scenarios. Right, our first turn. Just a quick explanation of what happens during a turn. A turn's made up of 5 different phases. The first phase is the upkeep phase. That's basically where you decide where each investigator is going to go and make sure that you set up that they will be able to do that, and they'll be able to they're set up to be able to do what you're trying to achieve. Then you will update your character accordingly, and everybody takes a turn doing that, so each investigator will take a turn doing that. It moves clockwise from the person who's the first player, in this case Charlie. And the next phase after that is the movement phase. So you'll actually move your investigator token to wherever it is they're going. After the movement phase, then we have the Arkham encounter phase. So where we are, anywhere in Arkham, if we're on a location, we'll have an encounter. The only time you don't have an encounter in Arkham is if you're in a street area. If you're in a street area, you don't have an encounter. Then there's another phase called the Otherworld encounter phase. But obviously, if you haven't got an investigator in the Otherworld, you'll skip that. But if you have got an investigator in the Otherworld, then you will have an Otherworld encounter phase. And then the final phase is the most horrible phase of all. That's the Mythos phase, and that's basically where the game gets a go, and the game gets a go at trying to kick your ass, and does a good job of it in the main. And that's the final phase of a turn, the Mythos phase, and then you will pass over the first player marker in a clockwise direction, so it'll go from Charlie to Skids. And it'll be Skids' turn to begin the upkeep phase in the next turn. Right, so we may as well get on with it. Upkeep phase is next. So what I'll do is we'll go across to the player area and we'll do an upkeep phase for each individual investigator. But quickly, before I do that, we may as well, while we're set up looking at the big board, have to look at what we're going to try and achieve, and how we're going to do the upkeep. So basically, where are our investigators going to go? Well, first up is Charlie. Charlie's here at the administration building, and what we're going to do with Charlie, I think, is we're going to head him up to the Bank of Arkham. So the Bank of Arkham is up here. So in order to get there, he needs 1, 2, 3, 4 movement. So we'll just have to make sure in the upkeep phase that he's got 4 movement. Once we get to the Bank of Arkham, what I'm thinking we'll do is Charlie will get a loan. He'll get a loan at the Bank of Arkham, that's $10. With the $9 he's already got, that'll be 19 obviously. And then he can get to the newspaper a bit later on. That's our plan. And then he can finish off his personal story because he can put that advertisement in the newspaper. So that's a quick way of getting his personal story out of the way. After him, we've got Skids. Now, Skids has only got a movement of 3, even if we have him at his maximum. And his personal story is to get 5 clue tokens, to gain 5 clue tokens. So what we'll probably do is we'll try and get him to the woods, which we should be able to do in 3. 1, 2, 3. Pick up that clue token. The woods is quite is a very unstable location, so it's always a good idea to go to the very unstable locations like the woods and the unvisited isle. The Black Cave's already gone, but Independence Square is another one. If you can get there and get the clue before a gate appears and the clue disappears. So I think we'll send him to the woods. Next after that is Roland. Roland's up at Arkham Asylum at the top. His personal story, just to remind myself. Oh, he only needs 5 or more clue tokens. He's already got 4, because if you remember, his ally gave him 2, Catweazle. So he only needs 1 more. So he's going to pop up to Independence Square, which is virtually right next door to Arkham Asylum. He's just going to pop in there, pick up the last clue that he needs. And lastly, but by no means least, Rita Young at the police station. Hibbs Roadhouse currently has 2 clues on it. This is because when we produced the first gate, the Mythos card told us to put a clue at Hibbs Roadhouse, so it's ended up with 2. We may as well hoover them up. So that's only 2 movement. So that's our basic strategy. And now we'll go to the upkeep phase and just make sure that everything's in order so that we can do that. So we'll just move across to the player area. And here we are at the player area. Our first player is Charlie. So we'll get his tray. Here he is, complete with his first player marker. Now, having a look at his focus, he's got a focus of 2. His speed 0, but he's got the motorcycle, the map of Arkham, and +1 speed with his ally. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 5 speed. He only needs 4 to get to the Bank of Arkham. So he's got plenty of movement points. As it stands, there's no monsters in the way or anything like that, so we're not going to change him. We seem to have set him up okay, so that's what he's going to do. He's got plenty of movement. He'll be able to get to the bank, no problem. Now Skids, let's just check that he's got 3 movement. He has indeed got 3 movement, so he can get to the woods. He's got his Tommy gun equipped. He's got a lucky cigarette case, the flute of the outer gods. Yep, he seems set up fine. So he'll be able to do what we want him to do. Roland. Now we want him to go to Independence Square. Now he only needs 2 movement to get to Independence Square, and he's currently got a speed of 4. And he's got a focus of 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him back down. If we can flick out his focus token. It would be easier if I wasn't holding it in midair. There we go. We'll move him down to 2. That uses 2 of his focus for this turn. I don't think we'll change anything else. So he can go back down. He's sorted for this upkeep phase. And the lovely Rita. She's going to go to Hibbs Roadhouse now. She only needs 2 movement again. She's up at 5. Again, she's got 2 focus, so I think we'll move her down. So her sneak's high. So she's at a speed of 3. So there we go. That's the upkeep phase. Quite straightforward, but it is only the first turn, and we pretty much had a good think about it when we were actually getting everybody's weapons and stuff and abilities to how we were going to set them up. So we've only tweaked a couple of things really. Right, so that's the end of the upkeep phase. Now we move on to the movement phase. Here we are back at the board. I've focused in a bit on Charlie, who's our first player. So he's currently got a movement of 5. We're not going to use all 5, we're just going to use 4. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3 and 4 to the Bank of Arkham. So that's his move. He's up there next to Arkham Asylum where Roland is. So that's Charlie's move. And now for Silas. What am I talking about? Now for Skids. Skids, he's got a movement of 3, and we're going to take the woods clue. That's what we're after. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3. And as soon as you arrive at a location, you can pick up a clue. But as soon as you pick up the clue, that's it. You can't move anymore. Skids can't move anymore anyway, but he's going to pick up the clue. So that's his first clue. And because he's picking up a clue, as per his personal story, we're just going to take another clue out of the supply and we're just going to put that on his personal story card. So this is his clue that he can use in the game to seal gates, to do re-rolls, and this is just a reminder clue that we're going to put on his personal story. So Skids has now got 4 clues, 3 started with and the one he's just picked up, and his personal story has a single clue on it, so he only needs 4 more. So that's Skids' move. The next move is going to be Roland. And there he is, there's Roland at Arkham Asylum. He's only got to move 2, so he's just going to move 2 to Independence Square. 1, 2, and similar to Skids, he's able to pick up the clue that was there. So he now has a total of 5 clues, and that means see if we can focus that. By the book, Roland has 5 or more clue tokens. Place heck with it in play. So he's passed his personal story. So to do that in the first turn is pretty immense. We're pleased with that. So let's have a look with at the pass condition. See if that'll focus. Heck with it. Roland threw the handbook in the trash. That does it. I'm going to have to make it up as I go along. Roland's intuitive ability now gives him a clue token if he has fewer than 4 clue tokens instead of 2. So, his natural ability he got at the start of the game, whereby if he has fewer than 2, he will get an extra one to bring him up to 2, now applies for 4 clue tokens. That's really strong because all we need is 5 clues to seal a gate. So to pass that so early, let's have another focus on that. We'll focus in. To achieve this in the first turn, that's really good. Well done, Roland. Right, we'll leave that on his play tray as achieved. Brilliant. Right. He's also got enough, because he's got 5 clues. Not only has he succeeded in his personal story, he has now got enough to seal a gate. So perhaps we'll look to get him through the Black Cave, into another world, out of the other world, and seal that gate. Right. Now it's Rita's go. Let's see her movement. There's Rita. The police station. She's only going to move 2. She's going to pick up those 2 clues just up at Hibbs Roadhouse. So she's going to move 2, 1, 2, and pick up those clues. That's 2 clues. She now has 4 clues. So she's only one away of having enough clues to be able to seal a gate. Now that's everybody's movement, So next phase that we're going to move into is the Arkham encounter phase. I've zoomed in a bit there on the Bank of Arkham because again it's Charlie first, he's the first player, and this is where he's going to have his encounter at the Bank of Arkham. I've really zoomed in here just so you can, I think you can just make out the text under the Bank of Arkham location where it says bank loan. Instead of having an encounter here, you may take out a bank loan if you don't have one yet. And that's what Charlie's going to do because he needs $15 for his own personal story. And he's only got 9. So if he takes a bank loan out, he'll get an extra $10 and he will then have enough money to go to the newspaper next turn. So we'll just zoom out a little. Now we've read that. And what Charlie's going to do is he will take out one of these, which is a bank loan. Gain $10 when you take this card. Upkeep, roll a die. On a 1 to 3 you pay $1 or discard all of your items along with this card. You cannot get another bank loan this game. Any phase you can pay the $10 back and then you can discard the card. The $1, obviously if you can pay that on a 1 to 3 you don't have to discard all your items. So it's just a question of making sure you've got enough money to pay this off. So, and if you get $10 later on, you can always get rid of the card and not worry about it. This would be a good card actually for Roland because he's got the expense account, so he never goes under $1. So he would always have $1 to pay towards a bank loan. So we might do that later. But as it is, we need the money for Charlie and his personal story. So let's get $10 from the bank and put this on Charlie's car, on Charlie's player tray, just to remind us that he's got a bank loan. And there's his $10. He's rich. He's rich, I tell you. Right. Next up, we have Skids down at the woods. And there he is, Skids at the woods. Now, there's no special text underneath here, so he's stood here, he's in the woods, he's got to have an encounter. The woods neighbourhood area, uptown, is red. So what we do is we use the red location card deck. As well as them being colour coded, you can see these little framed pictures. They are exactly the same as what's on here. So even if you have trouble distinguishing colours, you can tell from the little pictures on the back which neighbourhood they come from. So what we'll do is we'll give these a shuffle. The location card deck in the core game is only 7 cards for each neighbourhood, which isn't a lot, but expansions after that do beef out this deck. But in this scenario we only use the location cards that came with the base game, and strangely enough all the location decks, you shuffle them every single time. Whatever pull out of here goes back in the deck. Somebody else comes to the woods, or Skids comes back to the woods later, we reshuffle and draw another card. It could even be the same one, it doesn't matter. But the one we've got is, oh, as you can see, all 3 locations are on here, but we're in the woods, so we just read the woods one. You trip over an object which turns out to be a rusty lockbox. If you open it, make a luck +0 check and consult the following chart. A luck +0 check means we just roll on whatever his luck is. So his luck is 2. So he would roll 2 dice and he would look to score a 5 and a 6. A 5 and a 6 are a success. So, are we going to do that? With 2 dice, I don't... Oh, we might. Yeah, we might get one, might we? a 5 and a 6. No, in fact, we're not going to do it, and we don't have to do it, because it says if you open it. We can just leave it where it was. And I don't like the fact if we don't roll a success, we lose a sanity. If he had more than 3 sanity, I'd go for it, but he's only got 3. So he's going to let sleeping dogs lie and not touch it. So that was his encounter, which was finding a rusty lockbox and deciding he didn't want to open it. Not very exciting, but very safe. Right, next up, it's Roland. And there's Roland up in Independence Square, just a bit up from Hibbs Roadhouse where Rita is. Independence Square, again, has no text underneath it, so we just draw a white location. The white location deck. Give it a quick shuffle. Again, this will have encounters for Independence Square, Arkham Asylum and the Bank of Arkham, which are all white locations, but we only read the Independence Square one, which is make a will -1 check. If you pass it, Anna Caslow, the fortune teller, offers her help in your investigation. Well, that's very nice, we've already got her as an ally. Take her ally card if it's still available. Otherwise, gain 2 clue tokens. If you fail, nothing happens. So, what we've got here, we've already got her as an ally, but it says if it's not available, we can have 2 clue tokens. So what we'll do is we'll do the will -1 check and see if we can get the clue tokens, because if we fail, nothing happens. So find out what his will is. Roland's will is 5, so he's going to get 4 dice. So let's just zoom out a little, because we're going to have to use the dice tower. So will -1 is forward. Remember, a success is a 5 or a 6. And he gets a 6. So he gets 2 extra clue tokens. He's now up to 7 clue tokens. So that's excellent work. Shuffle the location card back into the deck. And that's Roland's encounter for this turn. Right, let's have a look at Rita. There's Rita at Hibbs Roadhouse. So we'll pick up the grey deck. It's the grey deck for East Town. These are the East Town encounters, just here. We'll give that a quick shuffle. And we'll read the entry for Hibbs Roadhouse. A stranger buys you a drink. You may search the common item deck for a whiskey card and take it. We'll always take free booze. So, it's quite benign actually, that encounter phase. Nothing really dreadful happened. Charlie's got a bank loan, which was easy enough. Skids decided not to check in the mysterious box, and Roland got lucky in that. There's the whiskey for there's the whiskey for Rita. You can discard the whiskey to reduce any sanity loss by 1. So we'll put that over in the player area, and we'll reshuffle the deck, seeing as we've gone through it, looking for a particular item. Put that back. Right, yeah, and Roland had the opportunity to take Anna Caslow on as an ally, but she was already there. So they probably went to Independence Square, and Anna mentioned that that's where she normally hung out. and perhaps she had an idea. She had a flash of inspiration using her medium abilities, and they were able to get 2 more clue tokens. That brought us up to 7 for Roland. And Rita at Hibbs Roadhouse, she's gone to the bar, somebody's bought her a drink, so nothing much has happened there. So that was quite benign as far as an Arkham horror turn goes. So that is now the end of the Arkham encounter phase. We would normally now go to the Otherworld phase, but obviously none of our investigators have gone through a gate yet, so nobody's in the Otherworld. So we skip that and we go straight on to the Mythos phase. And here we are at the Mythos phase. So in the Mythos phase, what you do is you take your Mythos deck and you turn over the top card. Sheldon Gang turns to police for aid. Can you see that? There we go. But first of all, if you remember how we read these, we start with the gate, and the gate is going to be at the graveyard, which is right next to the Black Cave. So let's sort the gate out first. There's the graveyard up in Rivertown. So should take one of our gate holders. Goes on the graveyard. We take away the clue token. Gets destroyed by the opening gate. Then we take our gate stack, which is here, which I've also put a doom token on the top of. And the reason why I've done that is I now know, because we've got an open gate, that this doom token, whoop, don't look at the gate, don't look at the gate, right, that's on the top. Now know this doom token has to go on Ithaca, so it goes on his sheet, and he's now got 2 doom tokens. We now take the top gate and we'll put it over at the graveyard. Check the rest of the Mythos card. So next up is a clue appears at the Unvisited Isle. That's over here. So that clue we just picked up, put that on the Unvisited Isle. That's now got 2 clue tokens. Be a good place to go. Now we've got monster movement. You see here we've got a circle. Now the only... oh, what did I forget? I tell you what I forgot. Obviously when we open a gate we get a monster. So before the monster movement we have to go in the monster bag. So let's have a good root round and see what monster's going to come out. Let's get right to the bottom. What have we got? And we have a moon beast. Right, I won't look at the back, we can have a nice surprise when we bump into these sort of things. But we've got a moon beast. It's an orange bordered monster. I can't remember what that is off the top of my head, but I'll have a look. But we'll put this chap in to the graveyard. His special symbol there is that slash, a rectangle. We'll use one of the stands. So we've only got 5 stands left. So we've got 2 monsters out of a limit of 7 for Arkham. And we'll put him in the graveyard where he's come out of his gate. Right, now we'll have a look at monster movement. Now that we've got all the monsters on the board that should be on the board. We've got a circular sign. Now, we know that the MyGo is circular, and because he's in the sky and he's been activated, what he does is from the sky, he looks for anybody in these rectangular street locations. But there's nobody there. none of our investigators are in a street location, so he ends up staying where he is. He doesn't move. And the other symbols are a square and a diamond. Our moon beast is a slash, so he doesn't move. He stays in the graveyard. Right, and the final part of the card is the headline. Sheldon Gang turn to police for aid. The Sheldon Gang disturbs a burial mound, releasing 2 monsters into the uptown streets. Not good. Not good. So, discard that card now, as we've done it. And we get 2 more monsters, which will go on the uptown streets. Just repositioned the camera there so we can see them going onto the uptown street, and that's going to be bad news for us, as you'll see in a minute. So right, here are the 2 monsters. We have a skeleton and a Chthonian. Oh, I hate Chthonians. Oh god, they're horrible. Right, now these do count towards the monster limit, so we've got to use 2 of the stands that we've got out of our 7, our original 7, and we'll pop these on those and put them in the uptown streets. So what we have now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 monsters out of 7. The bad news is for poor old Skids here. He's virtually trapped in the woods now. These 2 don't move. They were, because of the way that you read the card and the headline was read last, they missed monster movement. So that's where they stay until such time as a future Mythos card has one of their symbols. The skeleton has a crescent moon symbol, and the Chthonian has a triangle symbol. Don't want the Chthonian. You'll see if it happens. If we get a triangle symbol, you'll see what happens. But oh, I hate these guys. Right, so we'll have some thinking to do for Skids, and he's first to go next turn. Right, that's the end of the Mythos phase and the end of the turn. Like most turns at the beginning, not that much has gone on, but we have had a few bits and pieces. We've managed to complete a personal story. We're very near to completing another personal story for Charlie. Roland, who completed his personal story, is doing very well on clues. Hopefully he can start sealing gates soon. And Rita has picked up 2 clue tokens. Skids has managed to get a clue token, but he's also managed to get himself hemmed in the woods because there are a load of monsters waiting at the gates for him. So what we'll do is we'll finish that here, and we'll just do it a turn at a time unless we get a very quick turn. So thanks very much for subscribing, for watching, for commenting, and we'll see you next time on Arkham Horror Cool Air. Bye now.